One, I mean, there'd be many ways I can answer that. One would be that people live longer because they lived healthier lives and easier lives. My grandparents died in their late 70s, early 80s. So, yes, people will live longer. Spiritually, that means that then, well, they'll have even more years to grow spiritually, closer to God, because that's a constant call and effort. More years to grow in wisdom, as long as health and everything else, but more years to grow in wisdom. I'm going to say more years to be with the grandchildren, okay? And that's crucial, because of the part of grandparents in the life and the coming to be as a person of a child. You know, we sometimes hear people jokingly say, well, if I had known grandchildren was so much fun, I would have had them first. Okay, all right. But joking aside, grandparents generally have more time to express love, more time to play with, more time to listen to, more time to share stories of life, more time where the child knows that they are loved. And in the security of that love, grow. Grandparents have a huge part in that. It's not only little kids. I mean, teenagers will often go and talk to their grandparents before they talk to their parents. We've all done it, many of us, because it's a safe place. As the teenager pours out their heart and their joys or their chaos, the grandparent will listen and receive, share their experience of life, their wisdom, maybe their advice, but will especially share their love. They'll be there for the child, for the teenager, for even the young adults, because that's part of living longer. Now grandparents could well be really still present in the lives of people who are in their 30s and 40s, their grandchildren having their great-grandchildren. And grandparents can make such a difference. They do already.
We certainly see that people are living longer than what they did in past years. And for us in our church life, this is so important because so much of our congregations are often made up of seniors or elderly persons, and they are the ones, although physically they cannot be so active, but they are active in their support of the church and church life, in the parish life, both in the prayer assemblies, divine liturgy, services in the church, in the social aspects in church life, in the famous pierogi making sessions that they have where they can come together and socialize and do what they can to support the church. So as the age increases, it also means that we have more and more of wealth of knowledge from these people and their experience, which they can share with us just in the same way they can share with their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. They can do the same thing in our church, in our parish life. And so there's a great value in that for our faith communities.
I was at my barber the other day, and she's from Vietnam. And I talked to her, and I said to her, when you go home, and she's from Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, what do you find different He said, there's no more kids. The city is full of old people, she said, because the younger generation is not having children. And she seemed very disappointed at this. And I thought to myself, well, this is indicative of many places in the world now where we find that. And so the increase in percentage of seniors in society, even though we want to honor our seniors and respect our elders and see them as valuable on many different levels, there's great dangers in that. Generally, there's an economic danger for the whole society because it affects the economic base of the country. Also, too, when seniors get older, if there's not grandchildren, there's no grandchildren, these are seniors, not grandparents, it's very difficult. As one grows older in life, loneliness, the inability to have useful contacts with people, the increase of physician-assisted suicide, for example, euthanasia, all of these things, it has put our society out of balance. And it's put a particular pressure on the younger generation that exists to support a massive economic structure that normally would function if there was a better balance in society. So I think that there are numerous ways by which the aging population is affecting society adversely. And of course, with the lack of young people, lack of children, in terms of our faith, there's really a vacuum there. And I think that's another thing to consider as well. So God meant us to have generations. He meant us to have young people, active families, older people, interacting together and learning from one another. Well, that's being affected in some places in the world, unfortunately.